What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, the brother Robert Mason coming through once again with the $10 donation via the PayPal. Much respect to him for showing love once again. And that was a good game that you showed me a link to from 1981 when college was indeed still a man's game. I think the game was between DePaul and Syracuse, 1981, February 1981. So salute to you. Also, I got a request. Now that we're charging full speed ahead into an election year, hell, election day is what? I remember last time when I was referencing, I said it's 11 months away. Now election day is what? 6 months away. So it's rapidly approaching. So I'm going to do more political content on this particular channel. So I just want to let you guys know about that. So recently on Stephen A. Smith's podcast, he had Charlamagne the God, who has, of course, been on Stephen A. Smith's ESPN program, First Take, a few times. And on this program, he was, in his podcast, he was talking about how, as a liberal, he's having problems with the lack of urgency from the Democrats and the Biden administration as far as finally trying to take these polls seriously, which is showing that the black community is starting to slip away, gradually at least, maybe, from the Democratic Party. Not taking these polls seriously, not acting with any type of urgency, and not really giving black people any incentive to vote other than fear. And matter of fact, this is what was said.
Keep saying about, President Biden and his administration, especially if they're not pivoting, like right now, I still don't see the sense of urgency. And I hate when politicians put more on us, the people. They put more weight on us to show up and vote as opposed to putting weight on themselves to give us something to show up and vote for. Like, yet we're here with another presidential election where the only thing they're selling people is fear.
What are your thoughts about black conservatives? And I say that black conservatives as in black conservatism as opposed to the MAGA Republicans. I'm not trying to, I'm just talking black conservatives. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't have a problem with black conservatives. I do have a problem with black MAGA because it feels like MAGA is so against the basic interest of black people. That's why even when, President Biden was on Breakfast Club and he said, if you don't know whether to vote for me or Trump, then you ain't black. That didn't insult me because I understood what he was saying.
It bothered me, though.
Really?
You know why it bothered me? Because he was talking to you.
Yeah.
And you're a brother that has tackled so many issues, and nobody's perfect and nobody's flawless, but you've done a hell of a lot more good than anyone has ever given you credit for, as far as I'm concerned. And I respect the hell out of you because of it. It bothered me that he said that to you, because I'm like, who the hell are you to say something like that? Now, I wouldn't think about what he said as much as him, of all people, saying it, because we just remove it. If we can hold Trump and, as a landlord and as an owner, as a homeowner, I was as a landlord more so than anything else in the 70s, if we could hold those things against him, if we can hold the Central Park 5 against him, all right, we can certainly hold stuff against Biden from the 90s in the crime bill.
Absolutely.
And so for
100%.
him to be in 2020 saying that to you, trying to absolve himself from all that he did, and like, yo, this ain't the dude you want. You want me, and if you don't know better, you ain't black. That.
Yeah. First of all, let me say this. Kudos to Charlamagne the God for acknowledging that the Democratic Party really don't have any interest in doing anything tangible for us individually. They never will. They're never going to do that. They'll do it for Latinos. They'll do it for Asians. They'll do it for transgender. They'll do it for the alphabet community. They'll do it for everybody else. But they will not do anything in particular for us. They will never do it. Because, it's going to upset the rest of the apple cart because it's too divisive. Everyone else can have something, not us. They'll say we got to do a study on it. And then you come back 2 years later, this got to do more studies. We got to do more research. We got to talk to these people and that people. And 40 years go by and they hope that you died by then. Then, if the congressperson that you was talking to or whatever were retired or deceased, they said, well, we got to do the whole process again because there's new people in place. And it's just a big scam, And they're never going to do anything, just for us. Even when you look at the civil rights bills that were passed in the 60s, they weren't really exclusively just for us. They benefited women. They benefited other minorities. So none of this stuff still was definitively just for us. And also, many of these senators the Southerners who did vote for these things, they got some things in return. You know what they got in return? A lot of them got their states military contracts for the war that was going on. In their minds, the Civil War, but the Vietnam War, the oil depletion allowance, which Kennedy was going to get rid of. Well, that came back, and with dubs on it by Lyndon B. Johnson. So they don't tell you that. Boy, this juice good. They'll tell you all that. But, anyway. Yeah, kudos to Charlamagne the God for pointing that out there. But I don't usually agree with Stephen A. Smith. But, yeah, I was offended when Joe Biden said that. If you don't vote for me, then you're not black. No, because I don't have to freaking vote for you. I don't have to vote for you. I think what it is, Charlamagne the God says this because most people who don't really know Joe Biden like that, they associate him with being Barack Obama's right-hand man. The good white guy. He's a good white man. That's how they look at him. When in reality, the reason why Barack Obama picked Joe Biden is because out of all of the Democrats at that time available, he was the only one, still relatively in his prime, who had some credence with white folks. You know what I'm saying? The other Democrats that were out there were too liberal. They were just too liberal. He needed to pick someone who was a reassurance to America. Okay, this is a guy that is not going to be divisive. He's not too far to the left. Joe Biden is, if anything, a somewhat center-right Democrat. Because at that time, Biden was starting, because he knew the political realities of being a Democratic Party by that point in time. He was starting to pivot a little bit more to the left, but he still was more center. He was still more right of center than most Democrats at that point. This was a guy, Joe Biden, man, that was instrumental in passing the crime bill, which put hundreds of thousands, if not millions of black men behind bars for crimes that their cohorts or contemporaries, I should say, of Latino and especially white races, weren't going to spending 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years in prison for. So disproportionately, black men were going to prison for a very, very long time. He was one of the sponsors of that bill. He was also one of the sponsors of that cocaine bill, which was blatantly racist, which gave people who were found or found to have possessed or used rock cocaine far more prison time, far more than those who were wealthy and technically had more cocaine, but it was powdered. So powdered cocaine was getting lesser and lesser offenses. Like, you might get 12 months of probation. Technically, you have far more cocaine on you than a person with a rock. But with the rock, that guy gets 5 years in prison, if not more. These are the things that Joe Biden's for. Joe Biden also used to, in speeches, equate black children with cockroaches or roaches. These are facts. These aren't things I'm just pulling out of my ass. These are things that you can look up and find to be factually true. These are things that are recorded. So it frustrates me whenever I bring this stuff up. People say, "Oh, we'll talk about what Trump accused of." We all know the stuff Trump was accused of. We all know that he's a bigot. We know what he did, accusing those kids in the Central Park 5 and wouldn't even take it back when it was found they were innocent. We know what he was doing as a landlord in the 1970s, not allowing African Americans, Latinos, and Asian Americans into his buildings. Of course he's a bigot. We know these things. That's never been disputed. What's been disputed is people still want to make excuses for supporting Biden, knowing that not only does he harbor prejudiced views, not only has he been on tape saying things that are prejudiced, if not outright racist, but he's actually implemented laws that have hurt black people. That's the difference. This man has actually used his legislative agendas, bills, and has pushed agendas to hurt us. And yet, when this guy was elected, some of us of the lower element were twerking for this man. So those are some of my issues with this guy, man. So, it bothered me when he had the nerve to sit there and say, if you don't support him, you ain't black. How dare you say that? It'll be bad with anybody not black saying that. But at the very least, be a Hubert Humphrey, be a George McGovern, be a Bobby Kennedy saying that. Not Joe Biden. Are you serious? But I still don't trust these polls, man. I know that the polling is saying that black people are moving away from the Democratic Party, but I still got this sinking suspicion that a lot of these guys, when election time comes, they're still going to go and vote in droves Democratic. I think the number's going to be down a little bit, but what I think is going to happen is if Biden, let's say Biden got 90%, 89% of the black vote last time, I think he'll get 85%. I still think that most black people are going to still, come election day, go out there and vote Democratic because it's too ingrained in us to do otherwise. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying vote for Trump. I'm just saying you don't have to vote. Or you can vote for RFK Jr., you can vote for Dr. Cornel West, you can look up other minor party candidates that are on the ballot and vote for them. You don't have to just forget to vote for the winning team and all this crap. You vote your conscience. Don't vote by popularity. Vote for who is the best candidate in your opinion. Whether it's a guy that only gets 50,000 votes nationwide, doesn't matter. Vote for who is the best candidate for you and your interests. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it.